The Nintendo Switch isn't exactly a powerhouse machine. In fact, it was never intended to be. It's a nice little hybrid portable system that has gained a large amount of popularity, selling 20 million units up to this point. Of course, we've seen a load of developers take their games and try to throw them onto the Switch, sometimes really hastily with next to no effort, and what we end up getting is a complete broken mess. Bugs, frame rate issues, the game's looking terrible for no reason, and of course, them being such a broken mess that they crash every 5 seconds and you can't actually even play the game. And in the past, I've made buying guide videos telling you guys about the good games that you should actually go out and try. Well, how about we combine those ideas together and I create one big Switch anti-buying guide. Games that right now in your local GameStop are on the shelf that you could go and buy, but you really shouldn't. So whether it's a completely broken mess or just a really boring game, this is my list of Switch games that you should stay away from. Before we talk about a bunch of terrible things, let's talk about one awesome thing. Dollar Shave Club, and I seriously love the smell. I've been growing out my neck beard just for this moment. I am proud to be sponsored by Dollar Shave Club in this video, and when I say I'm proud, I mean that, because it's one of them sponsorships that makes me feel like I've actually made it as a YouTuber. But on top of that, it's really an amazing product. For new members, to get all of this for $5 and free shipping. This is the Daily Essential Starter Set, which includes trial-size versions of their body cleanser, One Wipe Charlie butt wipes, yes, butt wipes, and they are peppermint scented. There is also shave butter along with the executive razor, and for me it's honestly a struggle every month having to go to Walmart and trying to find some kind of disposable razor that doesn't cost an arm and a leg for $5 to have this shipped straight to your house. But enough talking about it. I've been growing this out for the video and it's been really itchy in the summer heat. Let's go shave it off. That honestly does feel so much better. So if you want to feel fresh, fit, and clean, just like I do right now, remember that $5 offer is available at dollarshave.com/beat-em-ups. That's dollarshaveclub.com/beat-em-ups. They're actually an all-around grooming company as well, where you can get toothpaste, body wash, and even hairstyling products. So whether you're a brand new member or a returning member, remember that supporting Dollar Shave Club is also supporting creators like myself do what I do here on YouTube. And I appreciate Dollar Shave Club for sponsoring this video. With all that being said, let's move on to some badness and talk about horrible, terrible Switch games that you should stay away from. The first horrible game I want to talk about is Harvest Moon: Hope and Light. This game is one that I really wanted to make a whole video on its own because it's just that bad, but I couldn't bring myself to actually going out and wasting 35 of my hard-earned dollars on it. This game isn't just on Switch, but I feel like it's the hardcore Nintendo fans that really want a new Harvest Moon game on the system, and then we almost got it. I think that's the point. It's supposed to trick so many people into buying it thinking it's a brand new Harvest Moon, but oh, it ain't. For starters, the game looks like absolute crap. It has the same repetitive, offensively ugly sprites scattered throughout the entire game. I think they only built about 10 different kind of sprites for the game. A bed, a flower, a character model, a couple of trees and some grass, and then they just spread it around the entire game and hope that no one would notice. There is absolutely zero sense of progression in this game at all. Just like Sea of Thieves or No Man's Sky, there's actually no point to even playing the game. You just feel like you do mundane things going around in circles for no reason. Oh, and there is constant cutscenes of characters talking. I have no idea why, but it's just boring dialogue on boring dialogue constantly. It seems like you can't take a step, especially at the beginning of the game, without being bombarded with lackluster dialogue. In fact, the Switch version of the game itself doesn't want you to play this game. It keeps trying to save you from playing because it constantly crashes and throws you back to the menu, almost as if to say, please, find something else to play, why are you here? But the horrible port version of this game aside, it's just an extremely lazy game. It's a cash-in on the Harvest Moon series, trying to trick people into buying it on the title alone. And for half the price of this absolute dumpster fire, you could buy Stardew Valley instead. Buy Stardew Valley, buy it twice and give it to a friend. It's a better use of your money. This video isn't just catering to those that have seen my previous videos. I want to make sure that if someone is randomly watching this around Christmas time looking for games to not buy for their loved one, that we're all on the same page with you do not buy WWE 2K18 for the Switch. It's one of my most popular videos at this point, so I'm sure a lot of you have seen it and already know why. So if you want to know why and you don't know why, I'll leave a link down below to that video. But it is the absolute worst port of a game on the Switch. There are some games that have given it a run for its money, but none have really even come close to this absolute garbage port of a game. Buy it anywhere else and you'll be fine. You can't wrestle with more than 2 wrestlers. If you even try, there'll be moments where the game's frame rates will drop so low, the game will come to a complete standstill in the middle of a match. There's more I could say about it, but let's just leave it at that. Hello Kitty Cruisers for Switch. This one might be obvious to a lot of you, but for the mums and dads out there who might be looking at getting their young daughter, or son I suppose, a fun game for their system, don't buy this go-kart racing game featuring the beloved Hello Kitty. It's very, very mediocre. It's not the worst game you could buy, but when you have Mario Kart on the market, why would you ever spend money on this? It was a Wii U game that got ported to the Switch. And the only reason I can imagine it getting that port is because the Wii U version became stupidly expensive. But the reason why it became so expensive wasn't because it was popular. Actually, it was the opposite. It was so unpopular, no one wanted to buy it, so they stopped printing it after the first run. Collectors boosted the price up trying to go for a complete Wii U collection, which wasn't hard with the very small and mediocre library. Buying this instead of Mario Kart does not make any sense to me. Having Mario Kart already and then going out and buying this still makes no sense to me. To put it in a perspective, it's like buying a Super Smash Bros. Clone game when Super Smash Bros. Is just around the corner this December. Actually, speaking of that, let's talk about Brawl Out. Actually, to be fair, I enjoy Brawl Out. It's a really solid fighter game made in the style of Super Smash Bros. In fact, so much so in the style, you may as well call it a clone game. There's nothing really that outrageously different about the game that makes it stand out on its own right. And a lot of the characters, in my opinion, are kind of dull and boring, apart from the ones that they have taken from other games, like the character from Hyper Light Drifter. That's pretty cool, but is it Smash Brothers level of cool? I wouldn't say so. I'm not flat out saying don't play this game or you won't have fun with this game. I'm saying there's a better version of this game coming, so save your money maybe? It's up to you what you do really, but the online mode for Brawl Out is really laggy and I have troubles getting into solid matches with a good connection. So, I'd save your money at this point. Next up, we have Rime, which I was gonna just bring up and hold to the camera, but it looks like I got so frustrated with the game I deleted it at some point. I think after the patch came out that was supposed to fix the game and didn't actually fix anything as far as I could see, I was done with that one. Rime is still one of the worst ports we've seen on the Switch, which is really upsetting. It's a fantastic game in its own right, but for whatever reason, they just couldn't nail it on the Switch. It doesn't look like a taxing game. It looks really basic and bare bones. The visual style kind of looks like Breath of the Wild in a way, but there's a lot less going on in Rime, so there's no rhyme or reason for it not to work well on the Switch, but still, the frame rate issues are choppier than the ocean in Sea of Thieves. That's the second time I've referenced Sea of Thieves in this video. The frame rates are really bad. And the character models, especially the main character model, kind of just looks like smushed pudding. Like someone dropped something on the floor, took a screenshot of it, uploaded it to the video game, and thought, here's the playable character now. Have fun playing as a smashed tub of Jello. I reviewed this game on launch, and something I pointed out was almost every GameStop near me didn't get any of these in stock, and the one I finally found that had a copy had one copy. And I got there right as they closed, and they still had it. No one went and picked up their one copy for the entire day. They didn't ship out that many because obviously they didn't have faith in selling any of them, and the one that was actually in the store didn't sell, so I guess they were right. I mean, I bought it because I'm a sucker. I was actually really looking forward to it. Get a bunch of friends together, you all throw the game in portable mode, you can sit there offline even, you can have 4 friends in a car going on a bank heist together, all on their separate Switches. The concept of this game is great, and they spent a really long time developing it. They spent like a year on the Switch port, and you know, a year of work goes into it, so they want to recoup those costs. So the game launched at like $50, $60. It was a full price game, which was a big pill for a lot of people to swallow when it's so cheap on Steam and everywhere else. Why would they rush out and buy this version for 2, 3, 4, 5 times the cost? But it feels like this game's been out for a year now, and it's still $50 at GameStop. Right now it's $10 on Steam and $20 on PlayStation Network and Xbox, or heck, it's even free on Xbox if you use Game Pass. So right there isn't much reason to go out and break the bank, see what I did there, on this game for $50 on Switch. You have to imagine that playing online has to be pretty dead at this point, with barely anyone left on the servers. I know that it's a bad looking game overall and doesn't look great on any system, but holy moly doesn't it look bad on the Switch. And my last issue would be, the game has been out all this time, you haven't dropped the price, and you haven't patched it or added anything new into it or any kind of new content. That feels really lazy. If you're gonna keep the price up there and not drop it to match the price of everywhere else right now, at least bring it up to date. It was an out-of-date version when it launched. At least try adding in some of the content from the other places, or maybe even adding in some more exclusive content to try and help your game's sales. You're doing nothing to help it, guys. As far as I'm concerned, that one's dead on the Switch. Easily one of the worst games on Switch, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I haven't talked about the new Shaq Fu game on the channel yet, so now's my chance. I was super excited to pick up this sequel to the classic Super Nintendo game, but they did us dirty, man. This game is very, very average. The entire game feels completely shoehorned in, almost as if they knew no matter what garbage they threw at us or put on the shelf, the hardcore Nintendo retro gamers or Switch collectors would buy it regardless. And I mean, they weren't wrong. They should have stuck with the fighter style game, improved on it, and made it over the top wacky. Something like WWE All-Stars would have been awesome, but they changed it to a beat 'em up style game. And hey, I'm down a party with a good beat 'em up, but this ain't a good beat 'em up. This one is about as bare bones basic as a beat 'em up can get. Bare bones basic beat 'em up, 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 That's hard. Not to mention the visual style is just kind of Honestly, it's not often that I actually experience buyer's remorse when I buy games, especially for the Switch. But Shaq Fu has left a really foul taste in my mouth. And no, I didn't lick the Switch cartridge, it's just from playing it. Come on, grab your friends, we're crashing our Switches in distant lands. I won't go into this one in too much detail, as I just literally reviewed it on my channel a few videos ago, so again there'll be a link down below. Another one with frame rate crashes, bugs, super long loading times that even tell you that it's gonna take a while, and it really does take a while. And then once it's finally done loading, it'll crash and throw you back to the menu, only for you to have to boot the game up once more and try and sit through that loading screen again and hope that that time it doesn't crash. And again, it's all a shame, because underneath all of the issues, there's a gem waiting to be played. It's really not a bad game. I actually had fun with what I could play. The issue was I couldn't play it. A late addition to the list, Hello Neighbor. I actually just threw this on the list like today. Kim went out and bought it recently because she thought she might have some fun with it. I can't speak for her experiences, maybe she can chime in, but for me, I think it's horrible. It's definitely one of the worst looking Switch games I've seen. Every single object, character, model in this game has those jagged lines, those horrible, awful, jagged lines, and don't even get me started on the draw distances. Ugh, they make me feel sick to my stomach. I will admit that it runs fairly well. I played it for about an hour and it didn't crash on me at all. So if you've played the game and you enjoy it, I would just recommend not picking it up on the Switch. However, about the game itself, maybe it just wasn't clicking for me, but I really didn't enjoy it at all. I take it that it's supposed to be scary when the screen starts shaking and he's chasing you, but honestly, just because of the nature of the game and how bad it looked, I wasn't scared in the slightest. What's wrong? Are you stuck? I wonder what the limit is. Oh my god, this is so stupid. The entire game feels like you're about a foot tall. You look up at door handles like you're Alice in Wonderland after she drank that thing that made her shrink down a mouse size. I don't know why they made it so you're so low to the ground in this game. It's really off-putting. This is more me just not liking the game, I guess, but it does look horrible on Switch. RBI Baseball. This is one that I actually haven't even played because I didn't need to. My buddy RGT85 reviewed this game. I watched his review, saw how terrible it was, and decided to stay away from it. Plus, I don't super like baseball games, but the issues he had with the game, and the issues you can clearly see even by watching this footage, is that the game is way too basic. There's no flair, no presentation. It's just, here's a bat, hit the ball. It's literally everything. It's one stagnant shot, essentially, of the entire game. Oh, and this game doesn't exactly look pretty. I mean, the character models are bad enough, but look at this crowd. Gross. Why would you even bother at that point? I'd rather see empty seats than these cardboard cut-out humans. It's really weird and off-putting. I mean, the game works at least. It doesn't crash. The frame rates are good, so there's that. But $30 for essentially no content? I mean, if you only have a Switch and you really have that craving for a baseball game, I guess, fine. But if you have literally any other way of playing a baseball game, I would go with that first. Those are just the games that I have discovered. I'm sure there are more games that got ported to this system or that are on this system that run really bad, or they're just average, or they're not worth the price. I would love to know what games you don't recommend buying down below. When I focused on physical games, ones that are actually in stores that mums and dads or people might get tricked into buying because they see a pretty box on the shelf. But if you know of any eShop games that are just as bad as these ones, you can let us know down below so that we all don't waste our digital money as well as our real money. Not that there's much of a difference in those two currencies. If you enjoyed this video or you learned a little something, make sure to subscribe because I'd really appreciate it. As always, there's some kind of giveaway down there in the description, so make sure you check all the links, including that Dollar Shave Club link. I'd really appreciate it. Click or tap on this video right here because it was probably better than this one. And finally, I love you guys. I like to remind you every now and then, and here it is. I truly do love all of you. Thank you for supporting me and watching my content and all of that jazz. I love you, and I'll see you next time.